Middle-class pupils are paying the price for sweeping school reforms, a leading educationalist has warned, as Scotland's performance in maths and science hit a record low in international rankings. Lindsay Paterson, Professor of Education Policy at Edinburgh University, said the gap in reading level between rich and poor children has narrowed over the last decade, partly because the performance of the better off is falling. He said, Scotland's overall performance is best described as stagnating in mediocrity. Camley's cartoon, Concern over Health and Education. It came as international education tests reported record low results in science and maths among Scottish school pupils. The 2018 Programme for International Student Assessment, Pisa, survey, which measures the performance of 600,000 15-year-olds worldwide, showed reading levels among Scotland's children have risen since 2015, but maths and science have both seen slight drops. However, pupils performed substantially worse in all three subjects than they did when comparisons began around the turn of the millennium. Meanwhile, efforts to close the attainment gap between rich and poor pupils appear to have stalled over the last few years. England performed substantially better than Scotland in science and maths. Its reading score was similar to Scotland, although also slightly higher. Education Secretary John Swinney said the results were very encouraging, while challenges remain. But critics called the statistics a humiliation, with Scottish Tory stand-in leader Jackson Carlaw accusing the Scottish Government of a litany of failures. Mr Paterson, who has previously raised concerns over the SNP's Curriculum for Excellence (SFE) reforms, which were introduced in 2010, said the improvement in reading simply takes Scotland back to where it was about a decade ago. He pointed to the socio-economic measures contained in the report. These show students from poorer homes do as well in England as in Scotland when it comes to reading, but comparatively well-off pupils do better in England. Comparing the figures to 2009, Mr Paterson said Scotland had been less successful than England at raising the reading standards of poorer students, while better-off students have performed worse. He said inequality had been reduced in Scotland by bringing down the middle-class pupils as well as slightly boosting working-class pupils. In a damning assessment, Mr Paterson said, in reading, Scotland has taken a decade of enormous upheaval in schools to get back to where it started. In mathematics and science, the decline continues. In England, the advance is steady in reading and mathematics, there is a weaker decline in science than in Scotland. Despite a decade of austerity, students facing difficult socio-economic circumstances do better. For more on this story, visit the news article link.